Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hello Sobat PCI, welcome back to another episode of Pojok, Cerdas, Inspiratif. My name is Rizal. I'm an English teacher at SMP Prima Cendekia Islami, and today I'll be with you throughout this episode. First of all, I hope you are doing great today, whether you are watching this in the morning before school, in the afternoon after class, or in the evening at home. So I'm really happy and excited to be here with you today. Being able to share with you always makes my day better. You could say that I'm on cloud 9 right now. But to be honest, preparing this episode wasn't as easy. At first, I felt a bit nervous and had to rack my brain to find the right topic. Something useful, simple, and fun for you. Luckily, everything came together in the end, and now I'm ready to share it with you. Now, let me ask you something. Did you notice anything interesting in what just I said? So if you notice, I use some expression that may sound a bit unusual, which is on cloud 9 and rack my brain. So when I say on cloud 9, it doesn't mean that I'm really on the cloud in the sky right now. It means that I'm feeling very happy because I can meet you again. And when I said rack my brain, it doesn't mean I'm hurting my brain with my hands or anything like that. It simply means that I'm thinking very hard for today. So, do you know what those expressions are called? Yes, they are called idioms. So, idioms are expressions whose meaning are different from the literal meaning of the word. So, in other words, we can't always translate the word by word. So, idioms are very common in everyday English, especially in conversation, movies, songs, and social media. So, when we understand idioms, I believe our English will be sound and more natural and more confident. We can be more confident. So for today, we're going to talk about the common idioms that people use every day to help to make our English more natural, like the native speakers. So let's start with the first idiom. Okay, the first one is a piece of cake. Have you ever heard about that? Okay. So, when my student asks me about, for example, an upcoming exam, I just smile and say that, don't worry, it will be a piece of cake. Of course, when I'm not talking about a real piece of cake that, you can eat. So, what I mean by saying that is that the exam will be very easy. Okay, so do you understand about a piece of cake? Yeah. So when next time when you feel confident about something, for example, like a quiz, a task, you can say that it's a piece of cake, because it will be easy. Okay. Now let's move on to the second idiom. Okay, the second one is under the weather. Okay, do you know what does it mean? Okay, I'm going to give you an example. So sometimes, when someone asks how that you're feeling, you may say that I'm not good, I'm feeling bad. So another expression we can use for that kind of feeling, we can say I'm a bit under the weather. Yes. So it doesn't mean you are really under the rain or the clouds right now. It means you are not feeling very well. Maybe you have just got a headache, a cold, or just not in a good mood. Okay, and now let's go to the third idiom. The third is call it a day. Now, after studying, for example, for a long time and doing so many activities all day, someone may say that let's call it a day. It means, it doesn't mean that calling the day by on the phone, because it's almost impossible for that. It means that when you say call it a day, you can say that I'm stop working because the task is already done. Yeah. So for example, after a long school day, you can say that I think we could call it a day and continue tomorrow. So remember, these idioms don't mean exactly what the words say, but they are very common in everyday English. So don't be afraid of idioms. At first, they may sound a bit, confusing, strange, or even funny. But with practice, listening and using them in simple sentences, they will become a piece of cake. Okay, I think that's all for today that I can share with you all. Thank you so much for listening. See you again in the next video. See you and goodbye.